Hello, and welcome to a sequence of movements that are designed to open your hips. But when you're opening your hips, as easy as that sounds, these postures can be very triggering. And what I mean by that is physical discomfort is a real thing in the practice of yin. We want to be at that border of discomfort and comfort where the breath is still flowing and you have enough control over your own nervous system, your own thoughts and breathing, that you can calm yourself down as overwhelm starts to cloud your mind. One of the shapes that's very good for opening the hips and stretching the hip flexors, known as lizard lunge or dragon lunge or just low lunge, is such a pose that can really irritate and bring out a lot of heat, anger, rage, discomfort. So let's set the shape up with care and take our time to get our body into a comfortable spectrum of discomfort, okay? First things first, make sure you have your props handy. I like to come to this shape from tabletop. From your tabletop position, take a giant step with your left foot towards the outside of your left hand. Then bring your props closer so that you can take a wide angle with your left foot outside of your left hand and your right knee below your right hip. In this shape, you want your right hip to be ahead of the right knee, stretching the hip flexor. And in most cases, the left knee can be above the left ankle, or you can let the left knee go a little bit more forward towards the left toes. You can start by having your hands high up so that you're not going too low and busting into this discomfort right away. Another way that you can support yourself is to place something underneath your right knee. If I put the bolster underneath my right knee, that cushions the entire experience so that if I was feeling a lot of pressure in my right knee, right hip, now the weight is more balanced. Another way to support yourself, I'm going to show you, this one's my favorite, is to kind of put the bolsters, maybe you have one, maybe you have two, but kind of placing it as a sort of seat for your body so that you can mount the bolster and have your hips supported in this way. And that way I can kind of like rest the front of my right hip and I can angle this a little bit better so that it doesn't come as far down. This one gives me better access to stretch the hip flexor in an upright position. A lot of people really like going low in this shape. So if that's you, not a problem. If you're not into using props, that's okay too. You have to be comfortable in your own discomfort, and that is a learning journey. So if you like no props and going low, then you can come onto your forearms. This is quite an intense shape. There are add-ons in this shape that you could potentially bend the back knee and massaging the right thigh with the right foot kind of dropping down, going in. You're rotating on that back knee. You could also turn this into a twist by placing your left hand on your left thigh and opening your chest up. Here, I'll demo from this position. In, hand, twist, open. Twist. After this shape, the counter pose can be Ardha Hanuman or seated splits. Again, this is one of those shapes that it can get really easy to be uncomfortable. So bring the earth to you. You can place a prop underneath your left hamstring. You can bring the ground higher up by placing blocks underneath your hands. You can move back and forth through the two shapes to kind of release and find a little bit of solace. Coming back to neutral, take a couple of cat-cows, and you can rest in between sides by taking child's pose as a counterfeit. If you have low back pain, chances are your hip flexors are tight. Hip flexors start attachment at the low ribs. They go deep through the front of your hips and attach into your thigh bones. This dragon lunge, low lunge, is one of the most accessible ways to stretch your hip flexors. Take time to get comfortable in the shape and get to know your boundary of comfort and discomfort. Where the breath's still flowing, where do you stop breathing, where does anger come in? How can you relax your jaw, your face, remove your tongue away from the roof of your mouth, and give your body as much soothing as it needs.